Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. And today we have with us Jason Bartels, who is the founder and CEO of FunnelMentor. Jason, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike, for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, let's get a little bit of background on yourself, because I have a feeling that I know what a funnel is, but sometimes there's some people out there that might be going, what is a funnel and why do I need a mentor? So give me a little bit of background on your, journey up to creating your agency, and then let's talk about FunnelMentor.
Yeah, so, funny enough, actually, my original background had nothing to do with sales and marketing. I originally started back when I was a teenager as in the concrete masonry field, and eventually started my own company. And then through a series of events, I ended up getting into the internet marketing world. So that's kind of where I dove down into that rabbit hole. And once you go in there, it's hard to come out. I had started several different companies online, and I got super excited about getting everything set up, the website pages and what I call them funnels now, but website pages and all the automation and all the different cool things you could do, and get to the point where everything's set up and ready to launch, and then I would lose interest in that business. So I'm like, well, maybe that's not the company I want to start. So I started another one. So eventually, after starting several companies, I realized my passion was really doing this, setting up the funnels and the marketing and all the automation that goes with it. So that's kind of what brought me to founding FunnelMentor, so I can help people build out their sales and marketing funnels and help grow their companies.
Yeah, you mentioned the rabbit hole. It's kind of like, I was down in that rabbit hole, but boy, did I learn some lessons during that process. So that's what a lot of people, when they kind of come out of that struggle, if you can look back on, here's where I've come from going through that. Now, I've got some battle scars, and let me teach you how to, avoid those or learn from yours. So I really like that kind of a journey and story.
Yeah, and it's like, when you go in there and you start taking all these different certifications and courses, it just, there's just so many ways you can market, but I've kind of dialed it in, more focused on coaches and consultants and really how to build an automated marketing system to bring in those qualified leads, so you're not wasting time on, people that aren't really even qualified to be on the phone with you,
Yeah, I think there comes a point where people in your target audience go, I just want to get some activity and action and just want to talk to some people, and then it starts working, and then they're like, yeah, but this one's a dud and that one's a dud. So now you just got to dial it in and fine tune it. So what do you recommend when someone gets to that point? What are some of the things that you would say they must do to dial that in to start really bringing in their best and highest value target audience client or prospect before they turn to client?
Yeah, I think a lot of it starts from part of my system. We usually bring people way back to the beginning stages of, I call it the clarify phase. So you're really clarifying your perfect client and your target market. And then once you have that done, you go in and clarify your message, because your messaging is kind of your foundation for everything throughout your sales funnel, your ads, and even talking to a client on the phone. That kind of all goes together. And then, having an offer that matches that, so get clear on your offer as well. So kind of take them back to that foundation, making sure they're clear on all that stuff. Because, you'd be surprised how many companies, they just figure, I just need a website. They get their website up, and it's just this big clutter that's just promoting themselves and saying nothing about, the benefit for the person looking at it. So it's when you change it around and get clear, then that really changes things up. So that'd probably be the first tip, is to really get clear on your avatar message and offer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. And you bring up website, and you are the funnel mentor. So clarify, let's get clear on something. You mentioned a website that's cluttered. Well, that happens no matter what the business is, but let's contrast and compare a good website to a good funnel. Why does someone need a funnel as opposed to just a website? What's the difference there?
So a funnel is more focused. So it's like a series of pages that's really direct on the flow of what a lead will go through, versus like a website. You're going to have all these different tabs on it, and might have the About Me page, and might have the services page, all these different tabs. Mm-hmm. So even for like my own, I call my website, it's still a funnel. I call it the homepage funnel, I call it. So it's really directed towards one call to action. So my main call to action is for them to book a marketing assessment with me, which is, we just get on a call, go over the business, more of a discovery call basically. And that gets them into my pipeline, versus having all these different calls to actions that they can take, and they go to the second page and then they're gone. So this way with the funnel, it just keeps it more focused, more on point of your main call to action. And even to get away from like the homepage, like say if you have a specific promotion, it's like building specific funnels for each one of those promotions, because then it really becomes predictable. Like, so you could, let's say you're running ads, because once you have it dialed in, you can spend X amount on ads, you'll get X amount of leads, and out of those leads, you're going to get a certain amount that'll become clients. So it just becomes a number game after a while. So it's a more focused effort,
You said something that made me think of a point that I feel like would be really important. When you have your message and your website really polished up and clarified, it feels like you as the website owner or the coach or consultant, it's for you. And I know that the website should not be all about you, but you want to do these things for your business, of course, check that box. But isn't it true that in reality, you're doing this as not a favor or a courtesy, but you're doing that with the thought of your prospective clients and your who's going to turn into be a client, with them in mind for this reason? People that come and need something and they start searching out alternatives, they find 2 or 3 people, 4 people that are providing what they're looking for. They're not going to find one website, click on a button and buy and do whatever that is. So they're going to look at, a handful of providers, let's say you plus 2 or 3 competitors. Well, your competitors most probably are the me, we're the best and clutter, in theory. I don't know who your competitors are, but doesn't it make sense that when you do this kind of clarity in your front-facing messaging to your target audience is really dialed in, they resonate much better, and their customer journey of even just getting to the discovery call and learning just enough to be able to make a decision, it feels so much more congruent, whereas otherwise they almost feel jumbled, right? It's like, man, I don't know what to look at because this is flashing and this tab and listen to my this and read my that and look at, I don't know what to do, and they kind of don't do anything.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like even starting with your headline, like flat out saying what you do,
Yeah.
So they, for one, know they're at the right place, and they're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Second thing is having a huge call to action button right there, and even at the top right hand corner, right above the fold, as you call it. So it's, they know what to do. Like, for example, I was looking for someone to do some design work for me for some PDFs and stuff, and I can't remember what their headline was offhand, but I looked at a couple of sites, just like you were saying, and I got to the one, and there's, they had a nice layout and everything, looked great, but it was confusing to even see where do I even like talk to these people or anything. And I went to the next one, and it was like, click here to talk with me. It was like, just clear, okay, I clicked there and then made an appointment, so just being that, having that clarity on that page
it's almost exhausting. Because isn't it true that when you and I go looking for something, whatever that might be, we're looking for something and we don't really have a lot of time. I mean, it really is something that I just feel we're doing a disservice to our target audience when we unknowingly make it really, really hard to do business with us, or at least to learn enough to be able to make a decision. And let's face it, anyone listening to this that wants to book a discovery call with Jason is not going to get, I'm certain, is not going to get the hard sell, pull out your credit card and let's do something right now. It's a discovery. It's to learn enough to be able to make a decision. So that just becomes a mindset of giving and serving before even saying, here's what we need to do next. And have you found that in working with your clients as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing, and I think in everything is like you gotta give value before you're expecting to give something, and I think that's true in anything in life. But yeah, especially for when you're trying to earn someone's business, like you don't need to just say, "Hey, here, buy here," right away.
Yeah.
Especially for something like I'm dealing with higher ticket clients, so obviously there's got to be a transition. You know, if someone's going to buy a higher ticket program, obviously you got to get on the phone and talk with them for a couple of reasons. One, to make sure it's a good fit for them, and another, to make sure they'd be a good client to work with yourself, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So what do you say to someone that says, okay, I understand making my message clear, and this funnel makes sense. I don't want to confuse people with a traditional website. What do you think one of the most important steps that they need to consider doing when reaching out to you? You know, not only being open to clarifying and making sure of the messaging, but what do you find? I guess I'm picturing some little kid, you know, with their toy and they're just grasping it. They're not going to let go. What's the thing that you find your clients are like, I can't let go of this, but maybe when you do convince them that we need to do it, and then they go, oh my word, remember a few months ago when I was really resisting this, and now look at how this is working. What do you find that way?
Actually, I think a lot of people get hung up on paid advertising, because they look at it as a lot of times, like besides the homepage funnel, like a lot of other funnels that are built, you send traffic to the beginning of the funnel. That's how you get people into it. And I think that's a big holdup for a lot of clients, because they're looking at it as an expense. It's costing them money. But when you can really, when it goes back to your numbers, you know, like if I told you I was going to, I told you, hey, give me $1,000, and then, you know, in a month I'll give you $9,000. Of course you're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
For an investment. So it's the same thing with doing paid advertising. I think a lot of people get stuck on that. They look at it as expense, but once you get your funnel dialed in, it really becomes a numbers game. So let's say you're looking for your average client value is $10,000. So you spend $1,000 a month in ads. And so let's say average cost per lead is like $10. So it's 100 leads per month you get. And out of that, you're going to get approximately 5% of those people that become leads. So when I say lead, they're opting in for some type of lead magnet, whether it be, you know, a PDF or a training or some type of thing. They're looking for something that's going to immediately help them. So they're opting in, putting their name and email address in there. They get that lead magnet. So you have 100 leads from that. Out of that, you're going to get around, say, 5% that are going to end up booking I call it a strategy session or discovery call, whatever you want to call it. So that's 5 people, and out of that, you know, let's say you only close 20% of them. That'll be one client. So you spend $1,000 on ads. Your client price is your price is $10,000. You know, you just made $9,000. So it's like people look at it, oh, I just spent $1,000, but not realizing, you know, out of that 100 leads that you actually got a client out of that, you know.
And let's even take it to the next level and think about two things. Number one is, as you fine-tune your conversation and your meeting with them, maybe it doesn't take you as many calls to bring in that next client. So maybe it's, you know, you increase your chances that way. So that same $1,000, you know, might be 2 clients, you know, that kind of thing. And then secondly, what about the lifetime value of that client? So if you are truly serving and giving and wanting to do the best for your clients, and you bring in that one client, you deliver spectacular service to them, very, very good chance that there could be one referral. Now, you could get really crazy and go, and they could send you 2 referrals a day. Well, they could send you, let's just say, 1 referral. Let's say that they go, you know what, you need to talk to my friend so-and-so that runs this company. Even if that is just 1 referral, boy, that $1,000 now really became valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, and not only that, it's like once people get results with you, they're always looking like, what's the next thing that I could advance my business with, and they're looking at you because you've already helped them. Just for instance, like if I help someone go from 6 figures to 7 figures a year, obviously they see the value, and it's ongoing. Maybe they paid whatever $10,000 to $30,000 to work with me, and then all of a sudden they took their business to that 7-figure level, and that's ongoing revenue. So they're already looking and happy with the experience, obviously. So there's always that next level, like, okay, what's next? What do we do next? So there's always something else that you can create another mastermind or something, put a mastermind together at a higher price, and always expand your value ladder,
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And I think that that's something that people just don't realize. They get so enamored with just that one piece. And for years and years and decades, we've heard that, it costs 5 to 7 times more money to get a new client than to maintain or capitalize on your current client. So everyone just gets that client, does a good job, and then next they're off looking for the next one. When in reality, how about that value ladder? And what about that current client? Yeah, you can get referrals, and we get that, but what about that cross-sell and upsell and just the different things? What's the next step in that process? So that one thing you do might not be the only thing that they need. It might lead to the very next stage in your offerings that helps you take the business to the next level.
Yeah, and that kind of brings back to the point you said earlier about being a giver. And that's just like when you enroll someone in your program or service or whatever it may be, is delivering on those results and making sure they get the value you promised on, or even over delivering on that. That's what makes them basically fans of you,
Yeah.
Not only just a client, they're like, we'll promote your stuff for you and everything else. So.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah, that's good. So, hey, what do you think? What type of clients do you typically work with? I know coaches and consultants, but do you tend to find that they are in a specific vertical or niche?
I was kind of all over the place, but now I'm not set on a specific niche per se. Most of the clients I like to work with, they're making 6 figures a year at least. So they're already somewhat established, and they're just trying to get to that next level, maybe they're at 10,000 a month, they're trying to get 50,000 a month, or maybe they're at 50 trying to get to 100,000 a month, so it's those people in that range. So where they just have established clientele and whatnot, they're just looking on how to do a better job at it and, have that consistency more or less. Like, I think that's a big problem with coaches and consultants. They don't have that consistency of getting qualified leads. So it's really putting together a system. I mean, I call it a sales funnel, but really it's a whole system, like 3 phases where you're doing a clarifying stage, like I talked about. Then the convert phase is where we're attracting, engaging, and transforming them into a client. And then, the capitalize phase is where, like I said, running ads to that funnel. That's where we bring the people in, where it's very targeted on a certain niche and whatnot. And then once you get them, there's even optimizing your ads and your retargeting and all the other stuff you can do to really expand that funnel.
Yeah, I love that. So, hey, let's wrap up with one last question. What do you find are some of the common problems that one of your clients, a coach or a consultant, would be maybe should be aware of when it comes to considering a funnel and potentially working with you? What are some of the pitfalls?
I think part of it's shiny object syndrome. So especially like a lot of people promote or getting leads, so like saying, oh, you need to be running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or all these different things. So kind of like, I mean, it's sure we all have done. We got sucked down those rabbit holes and do it, and then like, hey, I'm not getting the results I wanted, and that brings it back to like, hey, we got to get that foundation right, really get clear on who your perfect client is, and getting your message right, your offer, and then create your sales funnel based off of that. Yeah. And then you run ads. So I think a lot of people, I mean, we're all victims to it. We all fall into the different shiny object things. So it's really coming down to focusing. So like focus, follow one course until successful. So it's kind of
really I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned shiny object syndrome, because I literally just finished putting the finishing touches on what I call the authority positioning manifesto, kind of like all of my thoughts about authority positioning, which is what I focus on. And that's one of the big points that I touch on there is shiny object syndrome. And it really is these coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, business owners, it doesn't matter. Everybody is coming at them day in and day out in their Facebook feed, email, phone call, whatever, going, ooh, this is the thing. Right? Chat bots, Facebook, whatever that it is.
Yeah.
And if they're good, that pitch sounds really great. So it's like, oh man, where's my credit card? And I feel like it is like, it's just really hard. Because someone that wants to improve their business and scale and grow, they are watching for that thing. And the struggle that I know, I would encourage anyone hearing this, and you would as well, pick that thing. And do it, and don't get distracted. Maybe read that one little sales pitch about whatever that it is, and if you really think there's some legs to that, put it in your tickler file for 3 to 4 months down the road, because it's kind of like the old saying, hey, let me sleep on it, right? Because you don't want to make a rash and quick decision. So if you're focusing on this one thing, this one strategy, like we're working with you and building out that funnel, don't get distracted with something else. Put it in a tickler file, wait 3 or 4 months, and then you might come to 3 or 4 months and go, you know what? That's not that great of a thing anyway. I'm glad I stayed focused. But the main thing is you gotta give it enough chance for that to pay off and pay dividends.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you just got to stay committed to the one thing long enough for you to be successful with it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this thing is like, there's all these different pieces in there. And like, that's the thing, a lot of programs out there, they'll be selling one piece of it, like Facebook ads or building a funnel for lead magnets or messaging or whatever it is. So I'm trying to take people through that whole pathway. And even in my courses and stuff, I have it all set up so they can't skip ahead, because I want them to go through it.
Yes.
They might not realize the importance of something until they actually do it, and then they're like, "Oh my God, that's so true,"
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, for anyone listening that wants to put an end once and for all to their own shiny object syndrome and book a discovery call with you, just to kind of learn what a funnel mentor could do for their business, what is the best way that they can reach out and connect with you?
The best way is just to go to FunnelMentor.com, and there's buttons all over there to book your marketing assessment. So.
Excellent. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed talking with you, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, it was great talking with you too. Thanks a lot.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.